some question on the forum about what the deep web was. It's just a spider web variation, just a way that I like to control spider web. It gives me a real easy exposure on this arm. So I'm just going to show it to you real quick. When you're doing the spider web, obviously if you've watched much of Eddie's stuff, then you've seen that he always controls the deep hook, which means pit of the elbow and the pit of the elbow, taking my hip and closing this down, so I want this nice and tight. Grabbing the leg, and then on the other side here, I want my feet crossed. Sometimes it can be really hard to cross your feet. I'm a small little guy, so I can cross my feet up pretty easily. If they're real big and wide like this, it can sometimes be hard to get your feet crossed real effectively. You can come across here and scoop his tricep towards you, and that should give you a real easy way to lock your feet up. Right here underneath his shoulder is the best place, so you want it nice and tight right there. Okay. So those are the three things that are really visible on the spider web control. But something you don't see a lot, or that you can't really see, visible jiu-jitsu, I don't know. But it's the connection between his tricep and my core. Right? If I try to control his arm and try to muscle him around, Sam is not a big, strong dude. He's technically very sound, but he's not an animal, you know. But I can't just break him loose with the strength of my arm. That's ridiculous, even with me leaning my body weight back. So what I do is I connect my core here, and now it's not the strength of my arms, it's the strength of my core, and the efficiency of my movement is what gives me control over his arm. You feel the difference there, Sam? Yeah. So I can lean one way or the other and start to take his hands apart. Right? So when I do the deep web, I go underneath the leg, and I want to dive my nose all the way under here, kind of like I'm going for the brown nose there. So I dive under here, and I wrap this deep, okay? And when I do that, my feet are gonna come uncrossed naturally, okay? And because of that, I'm gonna be forced to do something else with this top foot, because I gotta control his head. I don't want him to sit up and be real powerful here. So I use my left foot to curl him back, and now I bend his spine here. And when your spine is bent, then your entire structure of your body is compromised. Everything becomes weak, right? So I bend his spine, and I connect my foot to the ground here. So now I've got him with a weak body, and me connected to the strongest thing that I know of, which is planet Earth. And now I'm going to keep this connection nice and strong here. So bring the camera around here, Scaff, and check out the connection that I keep here. I don't want this, right? You see this space here? That makes the position weaker. But this makes it very strong here, connected here, curling his head in. And now I use my foot in the ground to drive my hip nice and high, right? So now Sam, escape this position. I tell you what, just move. It's not very easy to do. And so if I want to, you can also bring your head here, right? Now it's going to be, because I've got this deep connection here, it's going to be super easy for me to manipulate this grip here. So I can just come this way and this way, and I'm just going to give him a pop, pop, pop. It's going to pop right off. And now I'd come back here and finish the arm right there. If you need to stretch it all the way out, if he's super flexible, then you can do that too. But it's, see the knees pinch, and I use one arm to make this finish. And now here's a nice little detail about finishing the arm bar is you hear people talk about keeping the thumb up. Really what I want is the thumb facing the same direction as my hip drives, right? So if my hip, see I'm at this funky angle, pulling his thumb up doesn't really give me exactly what I'm looking for. It's a good arm bar. It's not the best arm bar. What I want is this thumb is here, so I close my elbow, keep it tight, and then I drive my hip at this angle. It's very tight. If he turns his thumb the other way, then I drive my hip this way. And I get a really tight arm bar without having to do too much movement myself. If he lets his thumb go straight up, I'm going to drive my hip straight up. So I can take my hip this way, or this way. Doesn't matter to me. You turn your thumb any way you want to. Go ahead. It's very tight arm bar. All right, so the whole position looks like this. Ready? And so you notice that time I stomped. I kept my foot there on his bicep to keep him from putting his grip back together in case I lost the grip here. And then there was another, let's come around this way, here towards the head. Somebody had said something about the restless leg syndrome, I think is what I've seen it called. And when I first started martial arts, I was with Jamie Webster. And so I got my black belt in traditional martial arts from him. And he's a great grappler. And he called this the basketball. Because he said you could just dribble their head off the ground like a bat. He always played this way, right? And that's fine too. So any of these arm bar positions you like, as he starts to sit up, even from here, if he's being stubborn, maybe I can't reach his wrist, then I'll just take this and I'll straighten it out. I don't have to be vicious with it. I don't want to give him like one strike, even though that's not a bad idea. Right? What I want to do is just give him a. Right? So you're dribbling his head off the mat like a bat. He lets go, and I'll get what I'm looking for. Anybody want to see me bounce his head again? Anybody?